We definitely have some bizarre things to get into, but first check this out. On July 17th on the coast of Florida, a hurricane just pops out of nowhere.
I want to see something cool. Is it Mother Nature or is it science? We're going to start out 24 hours from now and watch all the frequencies that are coming out of Tallahassee, here, Tampa. And the storm's going to pop up right here on the coast in Brandon and then come out into the Gulf and start spinning. It's amazing. All right, we're about 12 hours ago. There it is. Watch the storm. You can see the rotation forming, and then we're also, here is a storm that we're getting right now at, what is it, noon? Weather manipulation.
Now, I don't know who the original creator is of that video. The person that posted this was on X, Kirkwood Jones. But yeah, it wasn't just him, but multiple people had noticed that just popped up out of nowhere on radar. I've lived in Florida for 20 years now, and I've never seen anything like that before. This is extremely telling, and right here where it looks like it's starting, there are Nexred Towers in Tampa. Let's also not forget too, outside of Nexred Towers, there's the MacDill Air Force Base that's there as well. But moving on to something even more bizarre, what do we have going on here? So for the past month, I've heard more news stories coming out of Mount Shasta than I have in years. Right, we had a pair of hikers finding a bunch of speakers on top of Mount Shasta where somebody was screaming or chanting through the speakers. Somebody supposedly came out and claimed them, saying he put them up there because he loves the mountain. Whatever. And then next we're hearing news about this massive data center built there, and now we're hearing this.
Welcome back and thanks for joining us. I'm Alan Marsden.
And I'm Haley Watts. A father and son are facing federal kidnapping charges after authorities say they zip-tied two U.S. Forest Service employees and held them at gunpoint in the Shasta Trinity National Forest.
Well, Action News Now reporter Blake Mayfield is live in Redding, and Blake, investigators are calling it a kidnapping, and it all started around 11 yesterday.
Yeah, that's right, Alan. Two employees were conducting field work in the Shasta Trinity National Forest when authorities say they were taken hostage near Gumboot Lake, which is west of Castle Crags in Siskiyou County. The employees were held hostage for nearly 15 hours before being released just before 2 this morning. The incident began around 11 a.m. yesterday when the Siskiyou County Sheriff's Office received a call from a Forest Service law enforcement officer explaining what had happened to the two workers. Authorities say 49-year-old Joseph Charles Henriksen, along with his son Phoenix, approached the two employees with a gun near Gumboot Lake. A rescue was initiated around 1 p.m. before authorities located the trailer. After they located the trailer, they were able to get the two Forest Service employees released around 1:50 a.m. and brought back to safety after nearly 10 hours of negotiations.
I am incredibly relieved that our two Forest Service employees are safe and back with their families. This outcome reflects the skill and resolve of the FBI, Siskiyou County Sheriff's Office, our Forest Service law enforcement officers, and every partner who responded.
FBI agents from Quantico, Virginia were sent to Redding as part of the investigation. Henry Magnuski, a man who owns a cabin near the area and sent us these pictures, told us that he gave a ride to two military personnel during the standoff yesterday. He added that it was highly unusual to see aircraft in the area as it's such a remote part of the forest. And Haley and Allen, Siskiyou County Sheriff Jeremiah LaRue said that his office has had no prior run-ins with Henriksen and his son before yesterday's kidnapping. And they also told me that the motive is currently under investigation.
All right, thank you, Blake. And U.S. Forest Service officials say they will not be releasing the names or identities of the two employees who were taken hostage.
These two men, a father and son who have no known history of getting in trouble with law enforcement, just happened to, out of the blue, kidnap two United States foresters. It really makes you wonder what this father and son saw. This one person left a comment on this news clip saying, the Gov causing wildfires to make room for, and as I said previously, there's talks about a massive data center coming to this location. But that's just speculating, that's just spitballing, but there has been a lot of very suspicious fires recently. But as of right now, the motive behind Joseph Hendrickson and his son Phoenix kidnapping these federal employees for nearly 15 hours still remains unclear. There is no official why that has been released. And the only reason why the authorities knew that the employees had been kidnapped was because one of the men took the phone of one of the employees, called the authorities. They told them they had the hostages and they wanted to speak to the FBI. There are also others that are suggesting that this father and son may have been growing weed. There's a term called trespass grows where individuals will grow large amounts of narcotics on lands that don't belong to them, and it's possible that these foresters may have stumbled upon that. Which is indeed always possible, but like I said, as of right now, there is absolutely no motive. Someone else said they were distributing ticks or scouting data center location. Someone else said these guys found a Bigfoot and the biologists were trying to protect the Bigfoot, who was in the process of being kidnapped. I mean, who knows what these people saw? Mount Shasta is extremely weird, a lot of bizarre disappearances, UFO, paranormal sightings, cryptid sightings. This is just another interesting news story involving Mount Shasta in the span of weeks. But next, so this is terrifying, and this goes back to facial recognition surveillance cameras identifying the wrong people. All the way back on July 9th, 1998, a 28-year-old Sarah Carr was shot and her life came to an end. Witnesses came out and identified the suspect as Gilbert Noel Sanchez Rosado. He fled, was never found, and the case remained cold, even up to this day. But all that changed in 2024 after police and investigators used facial recognition technology and they found their suspect in one Lorizano Nunez. There was no other witnesses that came out and said it was Nunez. There was no other proof that they had. All they did was take his old Arizona motor vehicles driver's license photo, run it through facial recognition databases, and they were able to find him today. Hold up, here's the problem. The driver's license they used was not his. It was actually Rosado's. And because Rosado's older picture matched Nunez's current picture in the database, Nunez was arrested and spent an entire year in jail for a crime he didn't commit. And how was he finally able to be freed from this? Well, after a year, they finally used forensic evidence, including DNA and fingerprints, to exclude him from this crime. Again, the only thing that authorities, investigators went off of was facial recognition technology. But this gets even more interesting because the lawsuit alleges that this police department ignored another police department back in 2007. The Puerto Rico Police Department contacted the Phoenix police informing them they had a man named Gilbert Noel Sanchez Rosado in custody with the same date of birth and social security number as the original suspect. The Arizona Police Department never acted upon what they were being told. They did absolutely nothing with that information. But what's even more damaging of all is that they knew that Nunez's fingerprints did not match years before his arrest. In 2011, he was arrested for domestic disturbance. In 2017, they used his fingerprints to match it against this case, and there was not a match. So again, the police were fully aware he had nothing to do with this cold case, and the only reason they arrested him was due to the facial recognition technology. What's wild is that the Phoenix Police Department, they paraded all throughout news, media, social media, that after 26 years, they finally got this guy using this technology. They even made a YouTube video about it titled Never Giving Up, and still, even after knowing they had the wrong man, they still have the gall to have this video still up. And I feel bad for the family of Sarah Carr too, because they're also featured in this video. I believe her sister and her son, they're crying. They finally, after all this time, have justice, but unfortunately, this was false justice. So Nunez now has a lawsuit against the Arizona Police Department for this facial recognition arrest, which again he spent a year in jail for. The Arizona Police Department have yet to comment. And the scary part is this is happening more and more. It's really ramping up. People falsely arrested due to facial recognition cameras alone. Like for example, 52-year-old Robert Dillon, who has a wife and daughter, his life was changed completely back in August of 2024 after being arrested for trying to lure a child more than 300 miles away from where he was residing. And after having strong proof, including an alibi, all charges were dropped after 2 months. This guy right here is the guy that police were actually looking for, but the AI facial recognition just happened to match him with Dillon.
How does getting a flat tire turn into everyone in the car getting poisoned? This entire thing happened July 15th near Detroit, Michigan, where an adult was driving with 4 children in the car when they got a flat tire. When first responders arrived, they found everyone in the vehicle in critical condition and quickly found out it was carbon monoxide poisoning. Out of the adult and 4 children in the car, only 2 children have survived so far. Officials are now sharing that the father of the family got a phone call alerting him that they had gotten a flat tire. By the time help arrived for the flat tire, they had already been poisoned to the point that they had all lost consciousness. ABC 13 reporting that by the time first responders arrived on the scene, all 5 were in critical condition. They then had to assess to try to figure out what was causing it. Witnesses saying that they were in their Ford Explorer, and that after getting the flat tire, they were waiting for help to arrive and were sitting in their idled vehicle when the carbon monoxide filled up the cabin of the vehicle, and because it is an odorless gas, none of them realized they were being poisoned. The entire thing very confusing because they were outside sitting in their parked vehicle. It's not like they were in a closed-in space like a garage. It was within their own vehicle outside. But then you look back, dating as far back as 2019, that this is a known issue with Ford Explorers, with some threads discussing the potential of being poisoned by your vehicle going all the way back to 2011, meaning that this one family has lost 3 family members, with 2 still in critical condition because their vehicle poisoned them. Other vehicles known to have the exact same issue: Honda Pilots, Hyundai Palisades, Kia Tellurides, and Ford Police Interceptor Utilities, which is an Explorer-based vehicle.
That video was from Married to a Lunatic, and the most recent update is that the remaining 2 children that were critical have now passed away, so I can't imagine the pain that husband is going through. But carbon monoxide is absolutely terrifying because, again, there's really no warning, there's no smell. And even though there's been over 2,700 complaints, 41 people injured, 3 accidents linked to Ford Explorers and carbon monoxide, Ford has yet to do any recalls. But moving on, when it comes to the Canadian wildfires, take a look at what they're trying to tell us now.
It doesn't necessarily smell like a campfire burning because as the smoke is carried across thousands of miles, sunlight breaks down these compounds, leaving behind toxic substances like benzene and formaldehyde, which is why the air can smell like chemicals. The American Lung Association warning of the long-lasting impacts from this, saying these particles can penetrate deep into the lungs and even enter the bloodstream. Particle pollution triggers asthma attacks, heart attacks, and strokes, and can kill.
So sunlight makes the air smell like chemicals now, right? Right. And now, me personally, the only time I've ever noticed the air smelling like chemicals was during that whole mysterious fog situation that happened back in, I believe it was late 2024 into 2025. We've had multiple really bad wildfires here in Florida, especially over in the Everglades, and never once have they ever smelled like chemicals. There's almost like a woody campfire smell to them. What in the gaslight is going on here?
I'm not apparently supposed to talk about this patent or this IP portfolio, whatever it is. So I'm just gonna give you the numbers, and I want you to go look it up real quick.
So what exactly is this patent she's talking about? Well, apparently it's called biosynthetic cannabinoid production methods. And the gist of this patent is eating Z bugs, but not any Z bugs. This patent gets really creepy. Now, the species of bugs they choose are those of the Orthoptera order, which include crickets, grasshoppers, locusts, things like that. But the purpose behind this patent is to mass produce and speed up the process in which people eat bugs by either cloning these insects in facilities or either genetically engineering or modifying these insects and again having them to be mass produced. We do know in the future the only choices will be fake lab-grown meat or bugs. There are certain energy bars and energy drinks you can get today that has insect powder in it. Matter of fact, Pepsi, they were experimenting with mealworm powder. But this patent wants this to be the standard of what people eat. And if you really read the patent, it really gives off the World Economic Klaus Schwab eating the bugs type of vibe. And these are the foods that they want these GMO modified clone insects to be in. For example, some to name a few: nachos, ice cream, bagels, cookies, cakes, things like that. They're probably already doing this for quite some time and not telling us and just listing this under natural flavors.
I did a little bit of digging before I started speaking on this topic, and I feel like the things that I found on this rabbit hole are definitely worth noting. This isn't just another Hollywood conspiracy theory that doesn't make sense. No, I've got some pretty deep receipts. So we're all well aware at this point that Taylor Swift just got married. Just looking at these wedding photos alone, you see a lot of famous and powerful people. Pretty sure that's Tom Cruise sitting right over here. And I'm looking and I'm like, who is that officiating the wedding? Oh, it's Adam Sandler. But wait, no big deal, right?
That you two have made giving back a key part of your lives. So, hey, when you have your firstborn, can I have it? Because that is going to be one special baby.
Well, Dolly, I must admit, you look real fucking gangster right here. But if you didn't know this already, Dolly Parton basically is addressing Taylor Swift and her husband, thanking them for giving her foundation a $2 million donation. Now, a lot of Dolly Parton fans are saying, oh, this is just a hand gesture. People saying they want their firstborn child is normal. It's Southern. Let me change your mind really quick. Watch this.
Cheers. Cheers. Ready? To the goddess sound. Oh, Lordy.
Jennifer Aniston, is that you, girl? If you didn't catch it, Dolly said, to the god Azel. Well, if you don't know who Azel is, he's a fallen angel associated with forbidden knowledge, sacrifices. We have Taylor Swift and her husband, Dolly Parton and Jennifer Aniston, Adam Sandler at Taylor Swift's wedding, Dolly Parton asking for their firstborn child, throwing up gang signs, calling upon the god Azel with Jennifer Aniston. I think something else that's really important to note here is Taylor Swift's wedding was during the Mercury retrograde, which is a perfect time for frequency swapping and mass illusion.
And having pizza at the Clooney's in Lake Como.
Yeah, that's all in Aniston.
I think she's like, George and I would love you to come over for pizza, but
Oh my God!
Right.
What did you put in his after lunch coffee?
Oh, and by the way, at Taylor Swift's wedding, non-celebrity people outside the venue were picking up the celebrity's trash and selling it. Sorry, that just really puts the cherry on top of the demonic cake.
That video was from Sassy Psychology, and when it comes to the so-called powers that be, Hollywood, the music industry, there's no such thing as accidental symbolism. These people live for symbolism. And it's kind of interesting she mentions Zelle, because if you think about all the big banks, what do they use? They use a system called Zelle, transferring money to one another. Having people say, do you take Zelle? Do you accept Zelle? I'll Zelle you. Is really creepy when you think about it.
Please tell me y'all saw this video coming out of Mexico. A woman said something kept getting to her chickens. No matter what, she put wire and everything up, something kept getting in there with her chickens and eating them. One day, she heard rustling in her chicken coop, so she went out with her phone and recorded it. Look at what this woman captures on camera. Talk about terrifying. What on earth is that? Now, she said this thing had to be at least 6 foot tall. And if you look closely, you can actually see its mouth is open before it turns and runs. And she turns and runs as well. This thing straight up looks like an animatronic. It looks like a Five Nights at Freddy's character. People are saying that this is a dog man, while others are saying that it's some sort of werewolf. Whatever it is, I'd let it have the chickens, and I wouldn't get any more so it'd go away. But that's just my personal opinion. What do y'all think about this? And what do you think this is? Let me know.
That video was from Whoa, That's Strange, and if that's not a dog man, I don't know what is.
This crop circle just appeared in a UK field, and wait until you see what it looks like from the air. So the formation was reported on July 7th near Tidcombe in Wiltshire. It's roughly 230 or so feet across. Many crop circles rely on symmetry, things like symbols, sacred geometry, but this one almost creates this 3D illusion of motion. One interpretation is that the design encodes harmonic mathematics through 12 segments, golden ratio, scaling, and symbolic triads. But without precise geometric measurements, I mean, it's hard to say. It definitely does use sophisticated symmetry and optical illusion to create this impression of motion. I mean, it is cool. Now, I will note that some formations this year were confirmed to have been man-made for TV. Others are still unknown and debated on origin, but it is stunning craftsmanship no matter what. I mean, that's for sure. But I am curious of your personal interpretation of the design or any that you've heard or come across. Share it in the comments.
I have absolutely no idea what this could be a symbol for. It looks like some type of unique windmill, but I did see comments of people saying that this could be what a fourth dimensional object looks like the Tesseract in a way. That video is from Hallucination Hippies.
This terrifying video is going viral right now, and it comes from Giovanni, I'll tag her below. And it all started when her sister received a doll for Christmas named Valeria. And at first, Valeria acted completely normal. That's until it started to make crying noises, which you would expect from a doll like this. However, these noises were nowhere near normal and almost sounded like a child in pain. Here's a clip, take a look. So Giovanni posted this video to see if it was normal to anyone who may own the doll, and it went completely viral. So the family checked the instruction manual, but it made no mention of crying. But after finding the product description, it only reads, quote, "She sings songs and tells stories." So with no other option, they continue to document what the doll is saying. But I want you to take note of just how quickly it'll go from crying to laughter.
Ay, mi cámara sí.
Paranormal. No escucho bien. ¿Puedes repetir? Hola. No te apures. Estoy pensando.
Now it's unclear why the camera was shaking so violently, as they never mention it in the comments or in later videos. But you can follow them for any updates. And as always, let me know what you think.
That video is from Real Horror Talk, and I do strongly believe that certain objects can have energies attached to them. But in my own personal opinion, I would have just thrown the entire doll away.
You guys remember this book from school? Magic Eye? If you do, give me 2 minutes of your time, and I'll see if I can blow your mind like my mind was blown. I'm Sean Wonders Why, and about 2 months ago I had some kind of spiritual awakening to where I woke up and I wasn't just happy going to work anymore, my day-to-day life, without knowing why. What's the point? This entire universe, everything. So getting back to the Magic Eye book, if you've seen these before, you know it's a way you can focus your eyes to where you look at these wild, blurry pictures, and all of a sudden, it's almost like you're looking in a new dimension. The picture will pop out to you, and it's almost like you can reach out and touch it. Now, in the metaphysical world, I know we talk a lot about the mind's eye and things like that. And I'm not saying that I'm seeing these pictures with my mind's eye. I'm not insinuating that. But it did raise this question with me. Looking through this Magic Eye book, never in my life would I have known, unless there was this book, that my eyes were capable of doing that. I would have no clue. I would have went my entire life not knowing that if I stared at this in a certain way, it would pop out to me almost, again, like a different dimension. And it got me wondering, what other things out there are magic eye that I don't know? Is there a magic ear? Is there magic nose? I mean, is there magic touch? I'm trying to figure out and wrap my mind around the fact that there's probably things out there that I don't understand. And that's kind of why I created this channel, because I would like to reach like-minded people that maybe have some of the same questions I do. I know I don't have the answers, but I would love to hear some theories out there. Now that you got thinking about it, what do you think? Are there any other things that we're not thinking about that we should know about that's not quite magic eye, but pretty close? Let me know in the comments.
That great video came from Sean Wonders Why, and the reason why I used this video because it really got me thinking about really the world around us, because we as humans, we can only see and hear very limited things, unlike other animals. There's probably so much going on around us that we're not seeing and hearing.
little bit more capability than what they're telling us. So are we sure the flock cameras don't have a little bit more capability than what they're telling us?
So we are getting this flock camera. It's emitting this Connect 36295 Bluetooth signal. It will randomly emit that. You can see it right there. We observed it 32 seconds ago. I can start this back up and you'll see we'll observe it consistently. This specific unit is obviously set off by human motion. Whether that's taking a picture of me is questionable, but the IR element definitely is set off from human motion. As you can see, no cars are coming. There's that connect signal. It's a Bluetooth signal. You can see at the top there, it's coming from the back of this battery pack. I believe it's coming from that white battery module, emitting a Bluetooth signal. This looks to be a standard Falcon ALPR unit, so it's not going to be the AI video powered condo unit. The easiest way to tell is the camera. The IR unit is more towards the top of the camera as opposed to the Condor where they're on the middle. You'll be able to see this triggered by the cars. It's taking 6 to 8 images of each vehicle as it goes by, make, model, color, decals, damage, and then it's uploading that basically via LTE to Flock OS where it becomes searchable, indexable, and they can refer to it later. So very extensive system. Again, we're picking up that Connect 36295 signal coming from the what I believe is the BLE battery pack, or the battery pack on the back of here giving off a BLE signal.
All in the name of safety and peace.
That video is from Eric Munoz, and it really goes to show how dystopian things are getting. But when it comes to these flock cameras, I highly doubt they would ever use it against the public in a corrupted way, right?
Yes, I did. People that I spoke to in the Fayetteville area call this very alarming, that police officers are using those flock cameras for their own purposes. They say that this raises new questions about privacy, accountability, and how the technology is monitored. For many, flock cameras are supposed to make communities safer. But after 3 officers allegedly abused the system for personal reasons, some residents are questioning whether the technology has enough safeguards.
I don't think they should be misused for personal use or any other use unless it's for a legal reason.
According to the Fayetteville Police Department, the officers improperly used the license plate reader technology to look for relatives and acquaintances, actions the department says fell outside of the scope of their duties. Now, some residents are calling for stronger oversight.
They should be for that specific purpose. If they're able to use it for all these other reasons like tracking people, either they need a new company that has protections on the gear to where you can't do all that stuff, or there needs to be some checks and balances on it.
Atlanta News First reached out to Flock Safety. The company's CEO says while the allegations are disappointing, it also demonstrates that agencies can detect misuse.
It's a disappointing story when I see it, but I also go, look, this is working. This is showing that if you use a tool like Flock or other tools, you should be held accountable, regardless of whether you have a badge or you don't.
This all comes as flock cameras continue to face scrutiny across metro Atlanta. In some communities, opponents have even vandalized or removed the cameras. Fayetteville resident Willie Wells says the latest incident only reinforces his concerns.
They're unconstitutional and they have to pay us for our data. Okay, we're becoming a police state. We got to stop it. We got to stop it.
Messi is 39 now, but he was 20 in that photo. 39 minus 20 is 19, which is how old Lamine Yamal is now. And what number does Yamal wear? That's right, 19. What's more, this picture was taken in 2007, which was 19 years ago. And what was Messi's jersey number in 2007? That's right, 19.
Every single time, they always tell you the truth if you actually watch. And that was done as a joke by Jimmy Fallon to poke fun at everybody that has pointed out how scripted all of these sporting events are, all of these sporting leagues are, I should say. And you have Jimmy Fallon doing a comedy sketch like that to poke fun at people like me and others like me who have pointed this out right here. Because again, there is no way that this was just by chance. I mean, come on. 19 years later, these two are facing off after this man gave the other guy a bath when he was a baby. I mean, come on, you all. It is always right out in the open. All of these leagues are scripted. The World Cup 2026 is definitely scripted. And it's wild how they will constantly poke fun at people because they know that we are telling the truth about all of this.
That video was from a good friend of the channel, Truth Seeker, and when it comes to sports as a whole, not just the World Cup, it's just one big distraction. And for the most part, a lot of it is just one giant ritual. But when it comes to Messi and this number 19, I think they're trying to lead people down a rabbit hole where nothing will ever happen, and they can just say, see, nothing ever happens. You connected all these dots and the alternate outcome occurs, and they go ahead and insult people that put these dots together, truthers and the such.